Do you know you can buy Lee's coffee, like concentrate, at Costco?
No.
And then you just mix it with some ice. So this is my dirty needle equivalent of a proper Vietnamese iced coffee with just ice from my freezer.
Amazing.
Hello and welcome to Let's Pod This. Friends, welcome back. My name is Andy Moore. I didn't publish an episode last week, as you may have or may not have noticed, because the world's still real busy. And so you might have been awash with other headlines, and that's okay. But I'm really excited. I teased 2 weeks ago that we'd have a new guest joining us today, and indeed we do. It is my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Emily Stacey. Hello, Emily.
You could just call me Emily at this point,
Well,
but I appreciate
I
it.
want to introduce you properly.
Thank you.
Dr. Stacey, I'm going to do it right now. Emily is a professor of political science at Rose State College in Midwest City. Has been my collaborator and co-conspirator on CivicsCon for the last 2 years. And then this year will be our third year doing it together.
Yeah.
I'm certain you've been on the podcast previously, although I don't remember for what.
Once before. It was just a get to know me.
Okay.
You wanted to we talked about my dissertation, I think, a lot of that episode.
Well, that could be.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Was it back here in the
Yeah,
the closet?
social movies. Yeah, back there in the closet. Yes, sir.
Great.
Yeah.
We've remodeled in there. Now it's mostly storage.
I was going to say, I really am digging the leather therapist chair.
One chair in
It's
there.
dope.
That's for a social media project we're going to do soon.
I'll have questions about that later.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited. So, Emily, you're
Samesies.
formally joining Let's Pod This today. This is your first week to co-host.
Yes.
You're not new to podcasting. You've been doing
Not.
another podcast for a while.
Indeed.
But I'm stoked.
I am too, man. Especially because you introduced me as a guest just a minute ago. So am I a guest / co-host
No, you're
today,
full
or
co.
like?
We've had this discussion.
Are we okay?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure the ink was still like settled
Right.
and we didn't smear anything.
Right. We shook
Okay.
hands.
All right.
And then poured coffee into solo cups here on the table.
We're both in politics. We know how these things go. They can be tentative, very moving situations.
Yeah. Well, so I thought today we'd probably kind of rehash that conversation for our new listeners,
Absolutely.
both of them, to get a feel for who you are.
Sure.
And listeners, I'll just say, like from the outset, this is our first time. We don't really have a hard agenda for this episode, so we're gonna like make it up as we go.
Yeah. I think that's the fun of it, right?
It is.
I mean, sometimes we'll have more structured things. We have interviews and very, very good programming. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Coming up. But yeah, I think today is a good day to riff.
Yeah.
There's lots of things going on. The State of the Union is tonight. The state of politics is a mess, and I mean, there's just always something to talk about.
I wish that the president would walk out and say, "The State of the Union is really messed up."
Well, I don't know that I mean, that might be a thing, though. If he's sitting, the SCOTUS is who he's using lowercase now, if you've noticed.
Yes.
He made the proclamation last week after learning resources via Trump did not come out his way, that they're no longer deserving of his respect, so he will no longer be capitalizing SCOTUS whenever he tweets them out or posts about them, I thought.
I'll be honest, I'm waiting for him. You know how he likes to call names. And I'm
Yes.
somewhat waiting for him to like make some equivocation between SCOTUS and the word scrotum, which...
Oh, that would take way too much. That's too much.
Not for him, though. I mean, I feel like this is a guy who...
That's a technical name, though, of, like, right? It feels more scientific. I feel like it would take a lot for him to get to that word, but yes.
That's plausible.
Fair enough.
Definitely plausible, for sure. Well,
I love it.
Before we get into the state of politics today, which is a mess, but let's go back and talk about you. We started at the end that you're a professor of political science at Rose State.
Indeed. Among other places.
In other places. So
Among other many places.
I think maybe the way to best introduce you is how I got to know you is like in your current role, and then I learned about all your other roles, and then I was like, yeah, but how did you get here? And we went back. So let's talk about today a bit more, and then we'll talk about how you got here. Does that sound okay?
Today a bit more, as in, like, what I just did before I got here?
No, no, that'll be later. But, like, what else you do? So you are a professor at Rose State College.
I am, very much so.
How long have you been there?
It is going on 14 years. So I am in my 3-year tenure review, and that's a 5-year process. So 8 years total full-time, and then a few adjuncting before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a long time to be at any job
I know,
these days.
so we're getting there, man. Adulting is real.
It really is. But you teach elsewhere besides.
I do. I'm really
Rose
lucky. So right after I started adjuncting at Rose State, I was actually at the Digital Methods Initiative in the University of Amsterdam, and got a cold email on an application from OCCC, and started adjuncting there as well. So for a while, they were sort of down full-time professors. So I got the pleasure and the blessing of teaching their 2000 level courses, international relations, comparative, and now I actually still teach state and local for them, which is cool because obviously we have the connections to the Capitol, and we get to use those and bring the kids up to have an immersive political experience, which I think is important. So yes, I teach there, and then Oklahoma City University, I'm going to leave here and go teach constitutional law, which will be delicious today. So I'm really lucky, and then I teach online at UCO. Thank God, just online for now.
But so that's 4 universities.
It is 4 universities. Yes,
That's a lot of classes.
the hustle is still real. Even though I have a PhD, man, doesn't mean that I'm not. I've got a bougie 6-year-old too, right? We've got to pay for things, and so yeah.
I don't know if this is encouraging or demoralizing that you, with a PhD, have to hustle this hard.
I mean, I don't have to hustle this hard. I really love what I do. I'm so lucky that first of all, Rose State pays 100% of my insurance, and pays me to teach politics every day,
Right.
and so this is not work for me. This is.
But I think
love.
it's illustrative that in today's world, in today's economy, even professors who are full time at a university might have the opportunity and perhaps the necessity to
side hustle.
moonlight
Yeah.
elsewhere,
Absolutely.
and it gives you a broader, a broader foundation of courses to teach. 'Cause
Yeah, absolutely.
I've taught enough to know that you don't love every course,
Oh
right?
no, I'm not. My expertise is international relations, certainly not constitutional law.
Yeah.
I'm obviously qualified to teach it, and I love teaching it. It's great, but it's certainly not what my field of expertise is in.
Right.
And so, yeah, I get to do all kinds of things, which is really neat.
Do you feel a bit like a bumblebee who gets to pollinate different flowers in the garden with your teaching all
Yeah.
these eager young minds that are out there?
Yeah, it's my favorite part of things. As I was just mentioning, getting to bring students to, the state capitol or to the Capitol complex just generally for the first time and seeing their eyes light up. And oh my God, this is a public space. And wow, these legislators are people too. And they're not going to eat me when I walk in their office and ask for an appointment. It's like, yeah. Kid, he shops at Crest just like you do. It's going to be okay, right? So yeah, it's absolutely incredible getting to connect these kids with democracy, right? I don't care how they vote. I care that they vote, and that's my general message, particularly in American federal government, which is the bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
Of what we teach.
I saw you at the Capitol on the State of the State
Yeah.
day back
Yeah.
this month still. I guess it was already this month, first week of the month.
Well,
And it's only been 20 days, but it feels like much longer.
Forever.
And Lena, our intern, was with me, and she had never been to the Capitol since high school or middle school. And it was exactly what you said. It was fun to see things through her eyes.
Right.
Where you'd run into legislators and other advocates and lobbyists and stuff, and shake hands and give hugs, and and she was like, everyone's so friendly. And I was like, I mean, it's the first day of session, so we're all in good spirits. But
It's the first day of school,
come
right?
back in May when everyone's
Exactly.
worn smooth out.
Yeah.
But I said, there's a lot of camaraderie in this building, even with people you might disagree. There were some people we talked to and be like, "Oh, great, good to see you," and then I'd be like, "Okay, but so here's the backstory with this person,"
Right.
And she's like, "Oh," I was like, "But that was that bill, and it's over now,
Right.
and now we might need them."
Exactly.
To support
it.
or oppose something. And so,
That's it.
we can be frenemies.
Exactly. What I find most interesting about the new generation is political purism, and I shake my fist at this all the time. If you are, Kamala Harris is a great example of this, right? She was not liberal enough for younger progressives who saw her time as, DA, etc., as antithetical to social justice movements and things like that, and so good enough is the enemy of great, right? Progress is progress, and I think what's lacking and what I'm hoping I'm injecting back into these kids is we can't move forward as a democracy if we're hating on either side, right? If we're not talking to one another,
Right.
then nothing is getting accomplished in a democracy by the people,
Yeah.
right? It's happening from the top, from people who know how to, right, interface with one another, even though they hate each other,
Right.
because money is money. But we're left out of that conversation, and so my civil discourse work is really important to me as well.
Yeah. Yes, that's 100%. Just let me just ratify everything you just said, and then acknowledge that this is not your first, political science is not your first experience at the state capitol. So to go back how you got here.
Oh yeah, teaching political science is not my first. Yeah, no, not my first rodeo at the Capitol. Yes,
but because you used to be a Capitol pool reporter, right?
Ish. So yeah, we weren't part of the mainstream. We're Oklahoman, but we officed in the press room with the Oklahoman, right? Tim Talley and McNutt and right Barbara Hobrock, all of the OG human beings. Rick Griner, oh my God. Frosty Troy. I sat next, his desk was right next to mine. If you people don't know who Frosty Troy is, you need to Google him right now. May he rest in peace. That little man was absolutely everything, a legend in Oklahoma political media. Pretty much established the Oklahoma Capitol Press Corps.
Yeah.
So I was part of eCapitol, now Quorum Call. So not quite a press organization, but also a press organization.
Right.
Legislative
press
tracking
organization specific to the Capitol.
It's very specific. Press conferences, the ABCs, agencies, boards, commissions, they are at everything. Sean and his team now. So I worked with Sean Ashley, who's now the editor-in-chief and all of the things of Quorum Call. I'm really proud of him. But it was the good old days. Trey Savage was there from Non-Doc, whose board I'm on now. We were just all... We were a cluster of human beings, like the brat pad of the Capitol back in the days. In that little press room, I had a little armoire that I sat at, like Darwin Maxey, OG legend of Oklahoma politics. If you don't know the name Gene Stipe, Uncle Gene Stipe, Darwin was raised under Gene Stipe. And so I got to really kind of grind my teeth in Oklahoma politics and learn from an old school Democrat. And so it just, I don't know, it sort of made me who I am in terms of getting to relay all of this to my students in weird ways and use my networks. I'm never afraid to walk into somebody's office because Darwin Maxey told me if I if I didn't try, then what am I doing? Shit, honey.
Right.
Can we cuss on our podcast anymore?
Yes, we can. I can click the box that says it's explicit. And
I should have asked.
My last episode I was on a bit of a mood, so I definitely have to check that box.
Oh, I'm gonna have to,
What years were you there as a
I started December 2007, and I actually started in Darwin and Linda Maxey's house in Bethany. We were inputting, paraphrasing bills, right? So that was and still is, a key feature of Quorum Call eCapitol, is that the reporters actually read every piece of legislation that is filed. Not just every piece of legislation that's filed, and put it in plain English. And so I started by doing that at their house, and 2-3 o'clock in the morning, making sure that bills were ready and up for our lobbyist, our agency, whoever the clients were. And so I went up to the Capitol in early 2008. That was my first in the press room legislative session, and I was there until I got into my PhD program, and that was 2012. Around June 2012 is when I left. So I've been through election cycles. I've been through the legislative sessions. We used to do I Vote was a thing that we did at eCapitol for a while. So I've interviewed, you'll love this, interviewed James Davenport, my professor colleague. Yes,
now, right?
At Rose State College, when he ran against Ralph Shorty. I did both of those interviews in that year for state senate.
That's interesting. I didn't know that James ran for office. Makes sense, but I just didn't know.
Yes, indeed.
And Ralph Shorty is not a name that I've heard in a long time, and I'm okay with that. They
ran against one another in that race, and Ralph Shorty won.
Yeah, the 2 or 3 listeners we've had since the beginning will remember, because I think that whole resignation happened in 2018 or something.
Yeah. It was after the Trump. Yeah, because he was the chairperson for Trump's committee here, wasn't he?
Right. In 2018, we had 8, I think, legislators that left office.
Fell off. Yeah.
Some of them, Ralph Shorty for for those who don't remember, he was convicted of sexual assault with a child, I
Yes.
think. Solicitation and all of that.
Yeah.
He had a T-shirt on about making me a sandwich or something.
yeah.
It was not a good look for a
It was
legislator.
classy. It was classy.
And then there were some other legislators that resigned
Yeah.
for various reasons, new jobs
Yeah.
or run-ins with the ethics commission or whatever. That was a wild year.
Yes, sir, it was. That's all I have to say about it. Yes, it very much was.
So if James had won, we might not have known
I know,
this whole
yeah,
story.
it would have been wonderful. Well, we probably would have eventually. I don't.
He would have run again.
Criminals are going to criminal, and stupid criminals are going to stupidly criminal. So I feel like
Right.
there was probably a trajectory there.
Yeah. So now I'm curious. So you were a reporter. What's your undergrad in?
Oh, political science, honey. International relations, political science. I do have a double major in philosophy, but only because I loved philosophy and
Because you're
also
a nerd like the rest of us.
right, exactly, and knew that just a standalone philosophy degree was probably not going to make me any money. So I need the political science.
I have a
Right.
friend whose daughter got her PhD in philosophy, and she was just like, "What are you doing?" Like, I applaud your work ethic
Right.
and your noble ventures, but I don't want to support you for your entire life.
You know how to think better than anybody, more rationally. It's
Right.
wonderful.
Right.
We can dissect the things in midair as people are doing the logical fallacies, but also I need to feed my kid.
Right. You got to be able to buy food at the end of the week.
Yes.
So your undergrad is in political science.
Political science, international relations. My master's is political science, international relations, and my PhD, which so both of my master's and my bachelor's came from UC Ogo Branchos in Edmond. My PhD came from Swansea University in Wales, the United Kingdom. So UCO formed a partnership with them that started in 2000. I think 11 was or 10 maybe was their first cohort, and they started with English majors, and then eventually within the next couple of years branched out to history and political science, and it was manna from heaven for me, for an international relations scholar, getting to be in the British system. I was all but dissertation whenever I was accepted, so there were no classes. I was just writing. I got to go over to the UK quite a few times, and it wasn't like I went and lived. I was based here and did a lot of Skyping and the things back in the day, but I did make quite a few trips over. But it afforded me the ability to, like I mentioned, study at the University of Amsterdam's Digital Methods Initiative. I've studied at Oxford University's Internet Institute summer doctoral program. I've spoken in Morocco. I've studied in Ukraine, but that was before the PhD. So I've been places. I've seen things.
You've been everywhere. Well, so I hope listeners understand this is why I invited you to join me on the show, because I'm a newbie to all of this, and you have a vast amount of experience and knowledge and like history. But I think your perspective and is valuable in lots of ways. We'll talk about the other ways too, but specifically like because you have been steeped in this forever, right? Like
it's my love, man. I've been a nerd forever.
Right.
Like National Geographics, like whenever I was 6, my grandmother used to write remember the old, when they used to print them out, the gold rim national. Those were what I lived on whenever I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I am by birth a nerd.
Right. Well, so it's funny. I read those too, but I went to psychology. It was a different lane, but we share a curiosity about people.
People, yeah.
And the fact that we organize ourselves into societies and we establish some sort of government despite all of its flaws and its warts, and we're just trying to like figure it out.
And they sustain and endure, right?
Somehow. I was talking to somebody the other day about, I think it was about like relationships, specifically like male, female, like heterosexual relationships. But there was this thread on Threads. I don't know what to call them. There was a tweet on Threads. I don't know what the vernacular is.
I like the thread on Threads. It works.
There was an actual thread on Threads.
There was a yarn on Threads.
A yarn on Threads. There we go. That was about, not to be crass, but it was about, it was women asking questions about men about their junk. Like, what do you do with it when you are like riding a bike or like, it was all these,
I have those questions.
Like anatomy related questions.
Tell me.
That's a different show.
I'll look at the threads.
But it was so funny to me that I remarked to my friend that, based on this, like, if you think back in human history, humans have been living in societies, or I go for, I don't know, 20,000 years, right?
Right.
50,000, pick your number.
Give or take.
Regardless, I would wager that the genders know less about each other today than we did 15,000 years ago, because we live much more private lives now. It's not like we're all living in a tribal community with loincloths or whatever. And then I started thinking about not just that, but like, what are all the ways that we have created structures in society that inadvertently, like, they're trying to solve one problem and they inadvertently like create space, like a division between things. And I think, I mean, right now, gosh, social media is a great example.
Yeah, I agree.
We're a tool that was designed to make us closer socially. It has, but in doing so, has caused us to be more siloed in other ways. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so I think, all that to say, now I'm just waxing poetic, but I think we have a similar fascination with humans, particularly the government aspect of it.
Yes, absolutely. Why do we consent to be governed, right? And what does that mean over time, right? I just had you on a panel just discussing these very things. Like, what does that mean as we evolve, and what is citizenship, right? Definitions that we know to be true change over time legally within, the society. And so I think I think that the curiosity that we both share is a healthy one, and one that I hope, by proxy of the podcast and, our work together, that more people are interested in, because we need, if you're not interested in it, number one, I think, relating back to the politics is a mess, right? We live in a state where folks participating in politics is a luxury, right? You have to have the time. Time is a resource. It's a luxury, because the time that I'm spending at that rally or up at the Capitol is time that, if I'm not a salary worker, that I'm taking away from, my paycheck, from, keeping the lights on for my kid. And I mean, I could get, if you want to wax, philosophically, Andy Moore, I'll get on a soapbox about this. We are the only industrialized Western democracy to not have dedicated election, right, bank holidays for election day, right? We we mandate that citizens come on a random Tuesday to exercise democracy in the middle of a work week, which is unfeasible in a state like Oklahoma by and large, right? And then wonder why turnout is so poor.
Right.
I don't know what we were originally talking about, but you
this is all good.
You triggered me somewhere along those lines.
I hope by now our listeners are used to a bit of a rabbit trail. I had another thought there, but that's stick around. Oh, I know what the thought was. The thought was that your primary job is to educate college students about these systems.
Yes.
And I think I see my primary job at its core is to like educate adults about the same stuff who aren't in college, many of whom, like, we internally like refer to our audience as the politically curious.
Yes.
Many of them are very adept, like they're not curious,
absolutely.
but it's like people who, the way I got into this, and many of the Let's Fix This crowd got into this, was, hey, I should pay more attention, or I pay attention, but I want to be involved, or like I listen to NPR, or I listen to whatever, I watch the news, I read the news, and I just want to do something more. And so I think that there's probably another commonality there that you and I share of like, there's a big educative element to it, and that's like anchored in a strong moral sense that this matters.
Yeah. No, totally. I preach on the very first day of all of my American government classes that there's this intimidation barrier, right? There is this barrier that exists in American politics, particularly if we feel like we're not smart enough to go, forgive the turn of phrase, but storm the Capitol or email the senator or, go to the city council meeting and stand up for and advocate for ourselves. And that's, really, I think, why what we do is important, breaking down those intimidation barriers and letting folks know that, democracy does not work without you. The prefix of the word demos means people, right? I mean, again, I'm giving you my first day lecture, but I mean, this is it. I mean, really. So if we're not being good stewards of the democracy and we're expecting the powers that be to do that for us, what do you wait? You better hold your breath, sir.
There's a movie I watched this past weekend, which I cannot recommend strongly enough.
Okay.
It was so good. To you and to all of our listeners, it's on Disney Plus. It's called Out of My Mind.
Okay.
It's about a girl in 6th grade that has cerebral palsy, and it's about her experience.
Yeah.
And the actress who plays her has cerebral palsy, so it's very authentic.
Oh, cool.
You will recognize some of the actors in it from other things, although none of them are like household names necessarily. Like the dad if you saw Mrs. Maisel on the guy that played Lenny Bruce, it's that same actor. Jennifer Aniston does the voice of the main character's like inner monologue.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a connection to that in the film. Anyway, as a parent of a child who is non-speaking, I openly wept like several times. Like my older daughter was the one who, she just read it in school and she wanted to watch it, and so we did. And she was like, man, Dad, she's like, usually you're a tough cookie, and and I was like, this is really impactful. Anyway, one of the characters in the film is a history teacher. No, he's not a hero of the story here. He's actually a bit of not a bad guy. Anyway, he's got to come around. He has a difficult role, but the line he keeps saying in this class is, "Why do we study history?" And he's getting the students to answer, and I think the answer he's looking for is, we study history so that we can prepare for the future. And it's the kind of thing that, like, if they just had it once in the film, you would have been like, and moved on.
Yeah.
But the fact they kept hitting on it, I think speaks to something that's a deeper truth about, both about the plot of the film, but just about history, that, like, the things that happen in American history, which is not that long.
No.
The things that happen in Oklahoma history, which is even shorter.
Yes.
Are still influencing and guiding how we do things now. And so now, having been doing this for almost 10 years, in some capacity, I have a much deeper appreciation. Like, it seemed novel before, and now I'm like, oh my gosh. And so now I feel like a cranky old guy when I like see the governor coming out, signing an executive order to do something, and because I've been doing this longer than the governor has, I want to be like, buddy, do you know why we don't do that? Like, here's the lessons we've already learned, and I get where you're coming from, but there's some information you should consider.
Right.
I'm not saying that the outcome would be different, but like, let's really weigh some of this stuff. And I hope that this program, as a podcast and a video series now, is something that our listeners can use to gain that same understanding. And that maybe through our dialogue here with us and with guests that we will have on, we can kind of colorize all of that in ways that make it much more vibrant and like relatable on some level.
That's my whole job, right? I refer to as making politics sexy for the children. There's so many, only so much that I can do to make federalism sexy, but to apply it to your everyday life. That's the important part, I think, of what I'm doing. Obviously, teaching them more the historical context into the application of governance and our founding documents, etc. But how it, the 238-year-old now in September of this year, document is still applicable in your life today, and who are the 9 people who are getting to decide the interpretation of that document in your everyday life, and how you get to decide how those 9 people get up there, right? And we have your accountability of voting for your, senator, right? Your U.S. senator is the only time you get to touch it. Anyway, right? So all of these threads and getting them to connect them, it's really a powerful thing. To make folks aware that democracy is not a spectator sport, right, Andy?
100%.
Right. We're making swag right now.
Like
come to CivicsCon. We'll give you some swag.
That's I was going to plug CivicsCon before we wrapped up here. We've got a few minutes left, so we'll come back to CivicsCon.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you some lightning round questions that I'm going to make up on the fly?
I feel like ChatGPT is making them up, but okay.
No, I'm really making them up. I thought of 2 just sitting here. I'm just doing this.
More. All right.
Had I prepared more, I would have. This is my iced coffee kicking in right now. Okay, no wrong answers.
Okay.
Just fire away.
I'm Dr. Stacey. I don't give wrong answers.
The first one is Declaration of Independence or Constitution.
Constitution, but the Bill of Rights specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee.
Sandwiches or pizza?
Sandwiches.
Now I only had 3 in my head, and now I'm struggling. House or Senate?
U.S. or state?
Okay, state level, House or Senate?
House.
Federal.
Senate.
Senate federally?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I'm with you on both of those. Who is your favorite president in U.S. history?
Ooh, stock answer, Abraham Lincoln. Real answer, probably Bill Clinton.
Whoa!
I know. Don't give it to me.
She's like, is there an expiration date in this episode?
I know, right? Like, I can edit this out right before we get the Epstein.
Pending full release of the Epstein file.
Right? I think really my formative years were during Bill Clinton, and I don't know. These kids don't remember the freewheeling '90s. Like, there were. I mean, after the Gulf War until Kosovo, there was
some good years.
Moments of prosperity, like the .com boom. All of the things were going on during that time. I really felt like we had a more vibrant civil society in the 90s. And I think whether that was because of Bill Clinton or perhaps in spite of him, right? Some of that came from pushback against Bill Clinton, the WTO marches in 1999, for example. So I think that's why I would say Bill Clinton. I don't know that it's a personal thing. Obama. Obama is like, yes, okay. I was going to say Clinton / Obama.
Right. Had you said Grover Cleveland, I would have been like...
You would have found me sus because I don't really do history that far back.
Aside from the governor, which statewide office in Oklahoma do you think is the most impactful on everyday lives?
Ooh, I don't know that the governor's really all that... Anyway,
no, but that would be a
you
most obvious...
You can cut that out.
Yeah.
You can cut that one out. I think the SOS is pretty damn. It's
not an
important.
elected office, though.
Oh, it's not. Oh, you said elected. That's right. You're absolutely correct. It's not.
In many other states,
the SOS does a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so again, I'm gonna do a hot take. I think the ed department. I think the superintendent.
That makes sense. I didn't even think of
Yeah.
I was gonna say like the Corporation Commission.
Oh, well, I mean, if you really want to get me on a soapbox, CorpCom, yeah, for sure. These people, oh my God, people to pay attention to.
The state treasurer is also important.
They're pretty important.
Maybe the point here is people should vote for all these offices.
They should totally vote for all of these offices, please, so we don't get somebody in a primary, right? At least make them run to the general people, please.
This is a question that get me in trouble. And again, no wrong answers. This is personal preference.
Sure.
Open primaries or ranked choice voting?
Ooh. So I am a proportional representation,
you're gonna go that way.
right?
That's good.
Right.
Good.
I mean, I'm a truly European, like studied IR, so I'm really about yeah. So as much openness as humanly possible, as much representation as humanly possible. That's going to be my answer.
I talk a lot about democracy reform because it's part of my job, and then every now and then someone will push me, and I'll be like, "Do you really want to know how I feel about this?" Like,
throw down.
Here's what I would design it, and it's never what anyone expects.
Yeah.
Anything is better than the status quo.
Yes, sir.
Not anything.
Oh, yeah.
Most everything is better than the status quo.
Yes.
Within reason.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we would like to have elections in November. Like, not anything is better.
Right. I mean, obviously, authoritarian is off the table.
Yes, please.
Let me try to think up a couple of other last-minute questions. If you had to merge the Dakotas or the Carolinas or the Virginias, which ones would you merge?
For what reason? Why am I merging them? He said...
I don't know.
I think the Dakotas. Because the land mass, I think it is... Why? Why do you need 2 Dakotas?
Why do you need 2 Dakotas?
Why? I'm sure that is completely insensitive to some tribes, and we're gonna get an email, and I apologize preemptively for that because I guarantee you there's a tribal answer for why there are two Dakotas.
Oh my gosh. To be honest,
I have no idea, but yes, I'm sure.
I guess I assumed that any tribal entities would prefer there be no Dakotas and just give us our land.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yes. Touche.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair. Okay. With that aside, do you have a favorite state in the Union?
State. Favorite state. No, New York City doesn't count as a state, but New York City is where I was
That's your soul.
made for New York City. Like anytime I'm there,
I believe that.
I just I blew a kiss to a cab driver who tried to run me over last Friday in the middle of New York City, like on 58th Street. It was like
it's a whole different ballgame up there right now.
I belong. Like this is pedestrian. Like no, you just.
That's fair.
Yeah, I was made for New York City.
And then a more contentious question: America versus the UK.
Don't ask me this. Andy Moore, whenever I came back from trips from Europe or Morocco, etc. I love the United States. I am born and raised in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm as American as they come. But I would cry. I would cry whenever I would touch back down. And I loved my life. I was not right. I'm not clinically depressed. But it was just, I don't know. I just felt a tethering, or feel such a tethering to Europe in a way that, I don't know, it touches me. I don't know. So I would say Europe.
I've never been to Europe myself, but I hear that sentiment. Everyone is like, I love America.
I do.
And I think the overwhelming sentiment I hear is America is great, and we don't fully recognize it because so many of us are not informed or don't have the experience to have a contrast.
Yeah.
When it's all that you've known, it's easy to get down on it.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, like this place sucks.
It just is what it is.
It does suck. And it's awesome.
And also,
right?
exactly.
Because those other places suck in their own ways, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Grass is always greener.
Yeah, totally. But also,
But we're not the only country with freedom.
No, and there are variants to freedom, right? I mean, the social, democracies in Scandinavia, I mean, the happiness index, all of these things, right? There are different variants to
right.
governance.
I would imagine
and
it's pretty easy to be really happy and have like a lot of support when like 98% of your population is very similar.
Taken care
very
of.
homogenous.
Well, homogeneity definitely helps, right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we've inherited a lot of, and I think, not getting us into a deeper conversation because I know we're wrapping up, but I think that the openness, the diversity, we don't say that word here anymore, but the diversity of the United States, early United States, obviously its strength is something that Europe is, I think, thankful about. Have you heard of the civilizationism? So this is, it's an IR theory where instead of globalism, internationalism, civilizationism, right? We're going back to looking at, Western, civilizations versus Islamic civilizations versus Sino, right? Very Samuel Huntington, a la Clash of Civilizations. But this is sort of the new theory, right? And talking points, if you are listening to, J.D. Vance, and then the NSS, the National Security, strategic statement came out, and it's very much civilizational talk, and so we'll talk more about that in coming episodes. But it's I don't know, it's I don't know where
that was a roller coaster of feeling for me in that where I was like, oh, I'm interested, and you said J.D. Vance. I said I am less interested.
Well,
and then by the end I came around to be like, I probably should know.
We have to be interested, right? Because this is what's. So they laughed. So they laughed at Samuel Huntington. Political science, international relations giggled at him whenever he published Clash of Civilizations in the early 1990s and argued that the wars of the future were going to go back to more religious, civilizational based conflicts as opposed to, and of course this was post World War II, right? Almost post Cold War, and we're in the middle of liberal international and institutionalism, right? We built the UN and the WTO and all of these institutions, and are totally committed to globalism in the early 1990s. And he's like, yeah, bro, this is what's coming.
Yeah.
And literally it's what's coming.
I learned some stuff about World War One this week
Yeah.
that I did not know, and it has blown my mind. We don't have time for it today, but
Okay.
not that our listeners want an
It's
episode
like,
about World
this
War
is a
One.
cliffhanger.
That's right.
I love it.
I was like aghast and agape, and other
Okay.
words start with A. I was just like, was like, this is wild. And stuff I never really, I was into
Yeah.
World War Two and
Sure.
really into Vietnam, but like, World War One was like, oh yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
The one thing, though, I can't not say something, but
Please.
the commanders of naval ships in World War One were basically, they were trained on essentially the Mayflower, like big
Okay.
rigging
Yeah.
ships with sails.
Okay. Yeah.
And then by the end of the war, they were commanding modern day battleships with guns.
Oh, wow.
Like, because the Industrial Revolution was happening,
Right.
the technology that they were using in the war did not exist when the war started.
Wow.
And so imagine
What a thought.
that, it's like us being like, I grew up on Windows 98.
Yeah.
And it's like, the jump from Windows 98 to whatever version of like Mac OS, not that big.
Right.
But the jump from you're, navigating by the stars
Yeah.
to like you have torpedoes and radar
Crazy.
is bananas.
Yeah,
to
that is
me.
wild.
Anyway,
I've got a book for you on that
good.
very
I'll put it on the
period.
shelf with all the other books I haven't read. I've read one chapter of every book on this show, and then I'm like, I get it. Some of which I've read more. Anyway, that's all for today. Let's wrap up.
Absolutely.
Emily, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It was great to have you on your first
Indeed.
episode.
Yeah.
Our first
Super.
episode together.
Our first episode. I love it.
Listeners, thank you for being here as well. Tune in next week. Emily and I are both committed to doing this every week. Like, this is
Indeed.
we might miss here or there, but like as a regular thing.
Yeah.
It's something we've both been missing, and I think
Yeah.
needed each other's accountability to make it happen.
Yeah.
Not that your accountability as listeners isn't enough, but this is more. And before we go, I do want to plug
Yes.
CivicsCon.
CivicsCon.
April 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Indeed.
It'll be at Rose State College.
Indeed. Student Union.
Thursday and Friday at Rose State. Saturday is going to be a little bit different, a little day of action.
Yes.
Emily and I are very busy behind the scenes working to secure all these speakers and get this stuff squared away. My goal, I think, is still to have a decent agenda released by the end of this week or next week.
Early next week. Yes.
We're just
Early
waiting to hear back from a few folks.
Yep.
It'll be really great. Our keynote speaker on Thursday will be Joe Kennedy III, former member of Congress and founder of an organization called the Groundwork Project.
Yeah.
Really excited that he's going to be here. Some of you have, if you volunteered with us,
Yeah.
you may have seen him on a Zoom call before.
Cool.
A really interesting perspective as a member of the Kennedy family, and someone who's been around government and public service his whole life. Really inspiring guy. And then our keynote on Friday.
Friday, we are bringing in Dr. Alan Weissman from Vanderbilt University. He runs their Center for Effective Lawmaking. So they are focused on literally researching legislators and helping them become more responsive to their constituents and their communities. So we're really excited to have him out to share his research and some of the tools that he's using at Vanderbilt. So
Yes.
it'll be Friday.
It'll be awesome. Tickets are just $50. That includes lunch both days, so it's a hell of a deal.
It is.
But spots are limited. There's only so many seats
Yes.
in the room,
Sure.
in the rooms, and so you need to get those as soon as you can. You can go to civicscon.com and get your tickets right now.
Yes, please.
And if you are interested in sponsoring, maybe you've got an organization or a business, and you want to get your name in front of a lot of deeply civic involved people,
Yes.
including a number of lawmakers, then have we got an opportunity for you? We would love to have you there. It's a great event. We usually have between 75 and 100 people, which is pretty rad for a Comic Con for a different kind of nerd.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.